I'm a 1st and 10 on the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And that I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you were playing fullback up there, and I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. If you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to fix it, and our running back coach didn't take the biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show on this Tuesday edition. Today, the Playbook. We have DC of DC Capstone Report joining us to talk Bama versus Vandy, the good, bad, the ugly, the tipping point. Malachi Moore, can Bama rebound this week? College football, is it the new NFL? Self-Redshirting, what is a student athlete anymore? And much, much more. Kick it over to you.
Good morning once again, and this is Martin Houston, and once again, you're tuned into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier, powered by Box Eye Care. Got a great show lined up for you. Can't wait to get DC's thoughts. Been a couple weeks since we've had him in, so can't wait to get into that conversation. There's so many things to get to. We won't get to it all today, but we'll do our best to get to those topics. I also had opportunity to be on with Ryan Fowler yesterday of the game and pointed out a couple things. And, and I've been active on social media the last 24 hours asking questions. I'm amazed at how many people are saying that the offense was the reason our defense was tired. That defense didn't get tired Saturday. That defense got whooped. The same thing that was happening in the fourth quarter was the same thing that happened in the first quarter. And this is, I'm just going to throw out a couple statistics real quick. I want you all to sync on this for a minute. DC and Xavier, they're asking this Alabama coaching staff to not do what's working because our defense is bad, instead of just calling for the defense to change. I don't get it. I don't understand. When Coach Stallings was coaching, they said throw it more. Now that we have an explosive offense, they're saying throw it less. What's up, Alabama fans? Listen to these numbers. It's hard to give your team time of possession when they can't get off the field on third down, or if a team decides to go on fourth down, they don't go on fourth down. Here are the numbers. Here are some numbers, DC. I want you all to listen to this. 129 adds up to 864 equals 639. What is that? That's how many carries that we've had through 5 games, DC. X 129. And now let me say it wrong. I'm sorry. It's actually 176, but the 176 includes all of the guys. I just took the top 3 guys, 129. Okay? 129 rushes through the top 3 guys. But we need to run the ball more. That's added up to 864 yards. We average 6.39 yards per rush. Based on the craziness and what I keep hearing out there, you would assume that we've thrown the ball 450 times. Either one of y'all want to guess how many pass attempts we've had? And I added the top 2 guys. Oh, there's only 2 guys that thrown passes. Okay, so I to kind of make it even, I went ahead and added Ty's passes in. How many passes do you think we've thrown this year?
Jalen has like 109 pass attempts.
123. And we're crying, run the ball more. Run the clock. You can't run the ball and get time of possession when your team is explosive in the pass game and the run game. They just break plays, man. The only thing they could do, in my opinion, and we can have this conversation, is that they can go slow. The question is, if you break your rhythm as an offense, will it break your rhythm as in execution? I don't know that. If you go slow, will it make you mess up? But to try to do something different with the play calling, I want to break down this as we go, because we had how many possessions did we have Saturday, guys?
8.
8. Scored on 5 of them. Punted on 1. Okay. And of the 5 we scored on, 1 was at the end of the game where we had to go fast. One of them was a Ryan Williams long touchdown. The other two, Jam Miller broke long runs, right? Decent runs. So that leaves 1 possession that you could have ran the ball more. I'm sorry. I'm having too much fun this morning. Remember that this is the day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. Good morning, guys.
Good morning. Morning,
Good
DC.
morning.
How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great this morning. Glad to be on. Sound like Martin's fired up already early this morning.
I've been fired up.
Yeah.
I've been fired up since I've been listening to these people talk about run the ball, commit to the run game. It's hard to commit to the run game, DC, when your quarterback throws a beautiful deep ball. Oh, let's Ryan Williams. When you catch a deep ball, you take a knee. Don't you score? Or Jalen, when you break the pocket and Bernard is down the sideline, don't you throw it. Don't you throw that ball. You throw it short so we can have more plays before we score. Come on, man. What's wrong with y'all? Hey, and when you get the ball, after you get 20 yards, take a knee, Jam. Don't you go ahead and score. We need to get the ball defense some more playing. Some rest. Never mind that they had 20 opportunities to get out the field on 3rd down. I'm sorry.
DC, what were your thoughts about the game Saturday?
Well, first of all, I got to remind Martin that Alabama fans are the most fickle fans in the world. So let's just go ahead and think about that before you. I'll just always call it like I see it. The most fickle fans in the world. So you're not going to find a way to please them. They're always right. They know what's best, and based on that kind of thinking, I guess they want to get one of those other offensive coordinators come in here that doesn't have a playbook and just run the ball every time. But my overall assessment
we ran the ball, but DC.
Oh, I know.
We ran the ball.
I know.
and
I know.
Yeah. Okay.
I know we ran the ball. I'm just trying to tell you that you're never going to get Alabama fans to agree on anything. If the sky is falling, Martin. The world is ended when Alabama loses to Vanderbilt. It's okay. Here's my assessment of what happened. I sort of predicted it. I was out of the country. I was in Canada at the time on a vacation. I took 5 minutes to do a live broadcast. My exact words were, "This is a typical trap game. Alabama, if they don't prepare for this triple option, they will be behind in this game. They're going to have to focus. They got to limit their mistakes. They got to limit their turnovers. That's what cost us this ball game. We got behind 14 points, and we couldn't, and our defense couldn't get off the field on 3rd down. We have 20 opportunities to get off the field on 3rd down. We don't get off the field on 18 of them. I think at one point, if we get off the field, 12 of them. If we got off the field on half more of those, 6 more of those, our offense scores every time we have the ball. 80% of the time we have the ball in that game. So we have an opportunity to win the game if our defense performs halfway decent in that game. So I put that game on coaching. and defense. I mean, when you can't tell me that if your offense scores 35 points against Vanderbilt, that you're supposed to lose that ball game. There's no way you ever get me convinced that.
And this is the other part I'll say really quick. If defense gets two stops.
One stop.
No, I'm just saying two stops. I like this shit. And we average just scoring in 2.5 minutes. That's 5 more minutes, right? Yeah. So that drops their numbers back into the 30s and it puts ours into the 20s. Just if we score fast anyway, right? We still have 20-something minutes and they have 30-something minutes. They didn't get off the field. In DC, we say 12 for 18. The reality of it was 12 for 18, but remember, 3 of those, they were in field goal range. So they may have not been as aggressive on the third down as they would have been otherwise because they lined up and kicked field goals and they missed one. The other one was a 4th and 1 that, by the way, I love Malachi Moore, but Malachi Moore got did on the 4th and 1 and on the short yardage play that kept the drive alive. That's when he should have been getting upset. I mean, like I said, but anyway, we got to get the break here. Got some callers we'll get to X on the other side, DC. The callers are lining up, so we want to get them in. This was a coaching nightmare debacle. I don't think these kids were distracted. I don't think them having fun cost us this game. I don't think them getting NIL cost us this game. I don't think any of that. I think the offense was prepared. I think this offense had to shift from a practice game plan to a chase game plan, which they did not anticipate having to do. I do not think this defense was prepared for the scheme. And by the way, everybody that keeps calling this a high school, middle school offense, you're wrong. The philosophy may be triple option. The philosophy may be middle school. The execution and the creativity and the utilization, they ran the exact same plays we run. Out in the flat, deep ball occasionally, quarterback run, shuttle pass. They had more creativity in their offense than we've had. So stop calling it a high school offense. Give Tim Beck, Pavia, and Vanderbilt credit. The dudes out-coached, outplayed, out-physical, out-hustled, out-wanted Alabama, and the result was they're now 1-60. I hate it. I'm gonna ride with the Tide to the end, but I had to give due respect where it's due. We'll be back on the other side.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Not getting off to a bad Tuesday start. By the way, good morning to you. We're moving with a purpose, even inside the construction zones as you travel on 2059 eastbound between Joe Malisham and McFarland. McFarland is pretty A-OK on the east and westbound lanes inside that road work between Jack Warner Parkway and Lurleen Wallace. McWright's Ferry Road extension between Wrights Mine and New Watermelon. You've got road work with no delays. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, Tammy Thomas.
This report is sponsored by Compassion International.
It's the year-end clearance sale at Townsend Nissan going on now. You can save thousands. See BJ or Kylan today at Townsend Nissan, your savings place.
Weather brought to you by Tidwell Chiropractic, the only third-generation chiropractor with over 26 years experience in Tuscaloosa. Call Tidwell Chiropractic at 752-2503.
Every day, a child in poverty waits for a sponsor is another day of hopelessness. There are thousands of kids who've been waiting over a year. End their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Just text the word radio to 83393.
Ask a fella, what do you love about her? And he's likely to flounder and fumble. Words are hard, guys. We get it. And we know you love her. So when words fail, diamonds tell the whole story. Fincher and Osment has been helping tongue-tied gents say I love you for 120 years. We'll help you find something better than 1,000 romantic poems. Something so good it'll leave her speechless.
I'm Tom Osmond, your jeweler at Fincher and Osmond Jewelers. Not so easy to find on McFarland, between Edgar's and local routes.
BMW of Tuscaloosa has it all. Ready to upgrade your drive? Enjoy special interest rates as low as 1.9%. Plus, don't miss out on incredible rebates on new BMWs. Get $5,000 off our new 2024 X3 and 2 Series inventory. October is the month of BMW, and BMW of Tuscaloosa is the place to be. Visit us now to save big and discover why so many are switching to BMW. BMW of Tuscaloosa. Take your dreams for a drive.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Alabama's weather will stay dry through the weekend ahead. A sunny sky today, the high 81. Clear tonight, the low 57. Tomorrow and Thursday, sunny both days, highs around 80. And Friday, another sunny day with a high at 79. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 53 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. We have Box Eye Care powering today's program. They do it each and every day. That's boxeyecare.com, 205-342-0660. Dr. Box and his team are waiting to serve you unbelievable inventory, in-house lab, great additional services. Go to boxeyecare.com. You can read it in detail, then get that appointment scheduled. That's Box Eye Care, powering the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. A couple quick things before I turn over to X in DC. Hey, listen, callers, we're going to get you in, but because of the limited 1 hour today, and we already have 4 or 5 people lined up, we're going to keep you to about 60 seconds. So go ahead and get your message and your comment ready and flow with it, and then we'll get it and get in and get out. And also, Curtis Moore asked if I'm confident that they're going to go in and roll Lexington. No, I'm not confident they're going to do that. What I am confident of is that they beat Virginia Tech, they should have beat Missouri, and they beat Alabama. The reason Georgia State, they didn't have as much success against Georgia State is Georgia State sees this type of offense and plays against other schools that do this type of offense and was able to better stop it. That's my opinion. So with that said, X, DC, I'll turn it back over to you guys.
All right. DC, this game was something to watch, and we hit on it a little bit. But what do you think the biggest takeaway from the game is?
Well, I think that the biggest takeaway on this game was on the defensive side of the ball. We weren't able to. Number one, Martin is correct. We weren't able to show this to the team in practice, and we didn't do a good job of explaining it and preparing in practice the defense. And then I think the biggest takeaway of this game was the lack of adjustments in the game. I heard Coach Womack talk yesterday about making adjustments. What adjustments? I mean, I didn't see the adjustments that make on the field. What happened was the defense wasn't prepared. They were being hit. We were getting beat. I mean, they were beating us. Their line was beating our line. Their plays were beating everything that we could put out there. And the defensive side of the ball became frustrated with the fact that they realized, pretty good way into the game, that they couldn't stop them. They weren't prepared to stop them, and they started trying to rely on their own athleticism, and that got them in some bad situations, which caused some big plays, caused them to extend the drive and that sort of thing. And I think once it started rolling downhill, we never adjusted, and we never adjusted, not even at halftime, in a way that was telling on the field. So I think that was the biggest takeaway, that the lack of being ready on the defensive side of the ball cost us that game, and the lack of execution of giving a game plan to be executed cost us that ball game. So I think that was my biggest takeaway in the game.
Yeah, and they played really hesitant, which caused them to be unsure. And once the guys got hesitant, their athletic ability and superiority on that level was was essentially neutralized. But we've got some callers to get to. We've got Joey calling us from Tuscaloosa on the Empowerment Strategy Solution Hotline. How you doing this morning, Joey?
I'm all right. I'll get to the point. The execution was a problem, but I see a problem going forward. And I'm not worried about losing the game. Football teams lose the game. You just come back from it. This team is not disciplined at all. They, as you say, rely on their athleticism. We could have gotten a half dozen taunting penalties in that game. Why put your hand in someone's face when you made a tackle like you've never made a tackle before? And I'll tell you one other that was very blatant. Williams turning around and running in the end zone backwards. We're lucky the official didn't throw a flag on that play. If they act like you've made a touchdown before, run in, hand the ball to the official. Instead, he high-stepped it backwards. And I said, oh, my God, the flag's coming out. But that's just a reflection of how this team acts. No telling what they do at practice. I hope the coaches will fix something like that. They act like they've never made a tackle or scored a touchdown before. Who needs to dance in the end zone? Get off the field. Dance on the sideline.
Let me interrupt here. Fans, what do y'all do what do fans do when Alabama scores or makes a big play? What do fans do? And I'm not justifying the behavior of the players. What do fans do?
We celebrate.
And how many times do we as fans plan to celebrate? And now I'm not justifying backing into the end zone or anything. And I'm going to point out, everybody act like we did none of this with Saban. Guys celebrated with Saban too. And I can remember the one time that Saban, it got to the point where Alabama became so businesslike that they didn't do anything. And then all of a sudden, when they began to jump and dance on the sideline, this team began to play even better. I get it, Joey. We do need to be more disciplined. And the place where I look at discipline is not in celebration. That's not where I look at it. The discipline is the penalties, DC.
But what would you have said if we'd have gotten a half dozen taunting penalties?
But so could the other team. But so could the other team. I mean, they both were doing it.
Yeah. Remember the Alabama player spun the football after making a touchdown and got the penalty a few years back?
That's because they called it different. I don't think they don't.
Why give the official the opportunity?
But I guess what I'm saying though, Joey, is sometimes these guys, like some of them are playing celebration. Some of them are just reactions, just like we do as fans. Is what I'm trying to say. Is some of the stuff we see is just, man, you're in a battle, you're a gladiator, you're fighting, and boom, you react. And that's what I told people even about Malachi Moore. I think Malachi Moore's first reaction was instinctive. I think his disrespect for the coach was intentional. And there's a difference. I think some of the guys' celebration is planned. I think some of it is instinctive. And you get caught up in the moment. But what I'm saying is more important than that. Those things, they could have cost us. The penalties is the lack of discipline that I'm more focused on, is all I was trying to say. X.
Yeah, appreciate you, Joey. No, I agree with that. We can't expect 17 to 20-year-old, 22, 23-year-old not to celebrate when they make a big play. Like that's not a guarantee to happen. Sure, some of the stuff is over the line. Don't have a problem with that aspect of it. But a lot of it is you expect we as adults, true adults that have lived life, we celebrate act a fool when they score a touchdown, but we expect them not to. So that's my thoughts on that. DC, before we get to the next caller, do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts are probably different than people would expect. Even though I'm the oldest person here in this conversation, I don't have a problem with kids. I'm talking kids, 17, 20-year-old kids, celebrating, having a good time when they score a touchdown or anything like that. I don't have a problem with that. My problem with the lack of discipline comes with when they jump off sides or making penalties. I don't call some of the penalties that we got lack of discipline penalties. Only the ones that were, which I think jumping off sides and making mental mistakes, those were lack of discipline. I think some people forgot about how Coach Saban's teams were passionate. And I mean, we're talking about a quarterback and a center that got in a shoving match on national television when we're up by 42 points. We got a defense that having to be separated on the sideline, fighting each other on the sideline in 2 or 3 games. We got all kind of stuff. Those are passion plays. I don't have a problem with people playing with passion. It becomes emotional when it gets out of hand. And I understand when those things happen, but intentional. I don't like when Malachi Moore didn't come out of the game. That was, in my opinion, the disrespect to the coach. He should be disciplined for that. The passion part of different things, those are spur of the moment stuff. I don't think that's a lack of discipline. I think that's just playing with passion. And I don't want this team to be robots. I want them to go out there and have fun and enjoy the game. That's what football is all about. So I don't have the same attitude where that you can't celebrate, there's a lack of discipline. I think it's just a lack of a part of having fun as a football team.
Right, and we can't expect players that are that age to be more disciplined than we are as fans. You know, there was almost a fight behind me with a man who had a 16, 17-year-old kid at the Bama game, at the Georgia game. But let's get to Robert. Robert, how you doing this morning? Robert, you still with us? Going once, going twice.
Yeah, good morning.
Hear me, Robert.
Hello? I hear you, Robert.
Gotcha.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah, go ahead, Robert.
I was listening to Feinbaum talk about it as well, and he mentioned that we kind of felt like that they took our Alabama's manhood. That's kind of what losing to Vanderbilt kind of felt like, and that's why it's harder to take this one than it would be to lose to Georgia. No offense to female Alabama fans out there, but it's kind of like if you're a professional boxer, and you've seen those matches where men box women, how it don't end so well for the women. It's kind of like one of those women beating you up and beating you handily, and you're a professional boxer. It's not just that you lost; it's who you lost to, and you lost to someone that everybody on the planet knows you are superior to physically, and you didn't perform well. For whatever reason, you lost to that level of competition. That's what drives everybody so crazy. And you mentioned earlier, X, about the is college football becoming the NFL? And I heard it on Ryan's show yesterday as well. He said, this is the new college football. And I heard a lot of fans call his show saying they don't like it. And I thought about it. Okay, if this new college football, why don't we like it? You asked Vanderbilt. You asked Vanderbilt.
We're the losers in it.
Exactly. You asked Vanderbilt, do they like it? I bet you, they do.
There's about 125 other schools that like it. Their name is not Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Oregon, and Texas or Michigan. Maybe that in the rest of college football, or Clemson. Rest of them like, woohoo! This is it, baby. This is our chance. So.
Exactly. It's new, no question about it. And your question earlier, X, when you started your show, is this the new NFL? Is it coming like NFL? Yes, it is. And the NFL is pretty exciting, especially in the postseason. Yeah. And you never know who's going to win. And so it's new college football. Yeah, it's not good for us because we own the old college football. You know how dictators are. We don't like the new regime when we lose power. But that's how it is. And so it's not bad. I mean, it's not bad. It's just bad for us. But it's not bad.
All right. Thanks, Robert. Thanks, Robert. Robert is so right. X, we have to get the break. I'll let you guys respond to that on the other side. He's right, though. It is. The new college football, it's only a handful of schools that don't like it. But at some point we'll like it, because the reality of it is you can get 1 or 2 losses. In the losses, here's the thing, and I'll say this and let y'all can hammer it out on the other side. We watch basketball and we've adjusted, right? We've adjusted to Alabama losing to like basketball losing to one of the worst teams in basketball, or worst team in the SEC, or worst team in the country. But we don't let that change we don't go, oh my God, Alabama can't win another basketball game. The problem is there is a gap that has closed. And I said this on Ryan's show, I think it was, but DC, you used to have over 100 and something scholarships that Coach Bryant used to sign. Well, all of those kids were on Alabama's sideline as backups versus at Auburn, versus at Georgia, versus at somewhere else. And once they changed that, Coach Bryant didn't win another title. Of course, he was older, but he didn't win another title and shortly retired. Then they went, and since that time, this is the greatest equalizer that's ever happened. Transfer portal, and the fact that now the gap was closed when that happened, so some more teams got in the mix. Now you have a situation where the guys that used to be standing on our sideline that were 4 and 5 stars, they were good enough to play at Alabama. They just happened to be a year younger. Like for 4 years, DC, I was Kevin Turner's backup. Why was I Kevin Turner's backup? Because he was a year older. So if I had gone to another SEC school, I would have been starting somewhere else. I just happened to be behind one of the best fullbacks in the country. Well, those guys aren't waiting anymore. They're playing at Vanderbilt. They're playing at Missouri. They're playing at Arkansas. They're playing all over the country. So the gap between the top and the bottom is small, like the NFL, and the worst team can beat the best team. We just have to readjust our eyes. We'll be back on the other side.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Not getting off to a bad Tuesday start. By the way, good morning to you. We're moving with a purpose, even inside the construction zones as you travel on 2059 eastbound between Joe Malisham and McFarland. McFarland is pretty A-OK on the east and westbound lanes inside that road work between Jack Warner Parkway and Lurleen Wallace. McWright's Ferry Road extension between Wrights Mine and New Watermelon. You've got road work with no delays. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, Tammy Thomas.
Join Tide 100.9 WTBC 1230 Sports Radio live for Fridays at the Free at Innisfree Irish Pub, 1925 University Boulevard downtown. Come join Wyatt Fulton for lunch at Innisfree Irish Pub.
Do you have a renovation vision for your home? Let Shoot Masonry and Specialties transform those tired spaces in your home into vibrant havens. Whether it's a culinary dream kitchen, spa-like bathroom, or the warm glow of a brick fireplace crackling on a chilly night, let Shoot Masonry and Specialties create your vision into stunning reality with complete renovations. Experience the wow factor. Contact Shoot Masonry and Specialties at 205-887-3807 today and unleash your home's full potential.
Touchdown! Hey guys, look at me. Now look at yourselves. I make the big plays and the big games. You don't. Yeah, you would have made All-State if Coach put you in. Keep telling that story, or you can actually play the game. The sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino puts you in the starting lineup. I'll still be making the plays, you'll be making the bets, and finally getting the sports glory you deserve. The sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. Play the game.
Lowe's knows that to win the job, pros need the best prices. That's why only at Lowe's, MVP's Pro Rewards members can get a volume discount on eligible orders as low as $1,500 at the Pro Desk. That means you get the prices you need to start any job, small or large, because Lowe's knows pros. Valid in-store only. More terms and restrictions apply. Visit Lowe's.com/terms or Pro Desk for details.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm going to have to find a new genius or two half geniuses and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Keep it locked into Tide 100.9 for more of the Martin Houston Show with Martin Houston and X's and O's Sports, Xavier Houston.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier, powered by Box Eye Care. Don't forget to go check out North River Timber Company, timber harvesting, appraisals, and land management, North River Timber CO at gmail.com, or call Courtney White at 205-242-5127, or Chase Pearson, 205-799-0665. Some complaints and things going on X on the chat regarding conversations around taunting and celebrations. Not one person called in last week and complained about the celebrations when we beat Georgia until we lost. So that I cry foul on that. If we beat Vandy, there wouldn't be any complaints this week. This is also unfortunately, part of the new college football that looks like the NFL, scripted celebrations. I agree with Virgil that the taunting and mouthing is unacceptable, and that happening when you that happens when you get beat, when you're getting beat, right? That's when you start to mouth. And I do agree with Joey on this. I want to make sure Joey don't think I totally disagree with everything he said. I do think that taunting is bad. I don't have any problem with the celebrations though, and I do agree with Joey that the backing into the end zone was not good. But I don't think Ryan Williams was thinking. I think that was an instinct thing, is what I was trying to say. So for me, taunting, mouthing, no. Celebrations, I'm okay with.
Yeah, I think if you actually look at when he backed in the end zone, I thought he stepped out of bounds. And that could have also been as much as him checking to see if the refs are going to blow it dead is anything. But that's just my perspective because of myself thinking that he stepped out of bounds. But we've got Ty joining us on the hotline. How you doing this morning, Ty?
Morning, guys. In the first part of the show, Martin, I see they got you fired up talking about that offense, man. Offense is fine, man. It's the defense is what's concerning. I can only imagine the head coach looking at the DC and the defensive coaches. And I remember one year we had an awesome team, shoot kids that were bigger, faster, physical, stronger. Oh, man, when the little team came into town and run this little wing T offense, and they run this play, I call it the whoopty-woo, where they fake that dive in the A-gap, and the little guy comes around like a little reverse, and my left side my left side linebacker was chasing that ball, and they were hitting us for 15, 20, 30 yards a clip. I look at the defensive coordinator. He says, we can't stop them. I grabbed a little video, 11-year-old, put him in there, planted him in the B gap. I said, you play that gap and you hit it hard. And we started stopping them. And we made a change. Man, being beat, coaching, physical, mental, the whole game is my biggest concern about Alabama's defense right now. And, we have to be able to learn how to forget the last play and move to the next. We got to be able to forget this last game and move to the next. And that is going to be a huge, huge, huge mental thing in these young guys' mind to me moving forward. I'm not saying they need to make a change. I'm just saying that in any player, it's just play your position. I want to go back and see. They embarrassed us on that stinking shuttle pass twice for big gains, man. And what happened to the line? Where were the linebackers at? That's the undisciplined play that I believe that DC's been talking about. And I think we've seen it show up big time in this last game, guys.
DC?
Exactly correct. Eye discipline is one of the things that's been a very glaring mistake on this defensive front. Gap responsibility, a lot of different things. He's exactly correct in that. That's the kind of discipline that I'm talking about on defense. That's glaring, shows up on film. And don't tell me that the Vanderbilt didn't prepare to beat Alabama. They weren't preparing to stay in the game with Alabama. They were preparing to beat Alabama when they were had an off week, and they worked hard at it, and they did a good job at it. So I give Vanderbilt all the credit. I think they did a great job in exploiting the problems with our defense, and we got to figure out how to do it, and we got to get it fixed.
Thank you, Todd. We have Ellis joining us on the hotline this morning.
Good morning, fellas. I know it's 2 days in a row I ain't called in a while, but I just want to say I agree with y'all. We wasn't ready for that kind of scheme of offense. The coaching,
I played ball back in the day and everything, but you got to see it's got to be coaching. We didn't get coached up for that kind of offense, and I don't see nothing wrong with celebrating, Martin. Like you said, what do we do when they score a touchdown? We get up and holler and scream and jump and give people high five that sit beside it. So I don't see nothing wrong with celebrating.
Hey, no. I have to jump in here. Thanks, Ellis. I want Tim Coggins made a statement that when Miami did it, Bama fans hate it. Now it's just kids being kids. I personally don't like it. Okay, let me go back and you watch. I didn't score a lot of touchdowns, but I had a lot of big blocks and things like that. I took a knee, thanked my Lord and Savior, and went to the sideline. Oh, and guys will be jumping all over me. But that's my personality, and that's my preference. I don't personally like it, but I get it. And that's part of this new college football, DC. If you cut this celebration, not the taunting, to me, taunting, mouthing, and all that is totally different. If you cut out this ability to celebrate and all of that, you're not going to get kids to come. You're going to miss, especially wide receivers are prima donnas. I'm just going to tell you, they are a breed of themselves. You're going to miss out on some of those recruits because the other schools are letting them do it. Now that doesn't mean you let your team do what the other team's doing just because they're doing it. But if it's something that doesn't hurt your team, then it's okay. But like I said, the celebration isn't a problem.
Let's be fair about what Tim said. Nobody cared when Sherman Williams did the Sherman Shake. Nobody cared when Derek Lassick did the Fred Sanford heart attack. Nobody cared when Teague and those guys celebrated after innings. Nobody cared when Teague high stepped it into the end zone. So let's be fair. Bama fans didn't like Miami celebrating. They loved it when Bama did it.
Exactly.
Good point. Hey, Virgil Williams brought up a good point. He said, remember when Saban's team played a crazy offense and they ran up our rear, and that was when Saban had his rant after the game. And that, we won the game, but that was, what was going on. And that was Georgia Southern.
Southern.
The team I just talked about that beat Vanderbilt, probably because they're used to playing that style of offense more. They may even run it. I don't know what they run. So, X.
That's what they run. But yeah, I mean, it is what it. And we're talking about stuff that at the end of the day didn't cost us the game. When what cost us this game was the play on the field. It was the lack of adjustments. It wasn't the taunting. It wasn't the celebration in the end zone. It was the simple fact that Vanderbilt came out to play and we didn't. And they handed our butts to it. Defensively.
Yeah. I would say that our Vanderbilt played with heart, and Alabama's defense did not play with heart. Once they realized they weren't prepared, they started rely on themselves and became undisciplined in their defensive play.
And speak of discipline, here's what the Bama fans should be calling up. If Bama fans, this is Martin Houston. I'm going to help y'all call all the other shows the rest of the day. The place that, if you want to point out the fact that this team is not disciplined or don't listen to their coach or whatever, and maybe if you want to make that argument, then this is where you need to say it. There's a guy that has to tackle the dive guy. There's a guy that has to tackle the quarterback, and there's a guy that has the pitch man. Let me tell you how I would have once. First of all, I would have coached it this way to begin with. But if we didn't coach it this way, let me tell you what would have happened in that game. Martin Houston would have went to his defensive lineman and said, I don't care what he does. You tackle the dive guy. Whoever has a dive guy, you tackle him every time. Don't wonder if he has the ball. Just tackle him. Linebacker, right. Q Robinson, safety, you have the quarterback. I don't care if he has the ball. You hit him every stinking time. And if we get a penalty, I'm going to be okay. But you hit that quarterback every time. You make him give it or pitch it. And whoever has the pitch man, you get him. And you hit him every single time. That's what discipline is. You hit your guy. Think about the old school option when everybody ran it. That quarterback got tired of getting hit. How many times did we hit Pavia? He would have been hit. He would have been hit every single time. Right in the mouth. Right in the chest. Mouth would be a penalty today. But that's my point. We didn't do that. We didn't play discipline. We didn't. The dive guy didn't tackle the dive guy every time. The quarterback guy, DC, didn't tackle the quarterback every time. And the pitch man didn't tackle the pitch man every time. It doesn't matter if the pitch man was a running back, the tight end, or the wide receiver that was out there. They had a pitch man every time. They had the quarterback every time, and they had the running back. Be disciplined and do that every single time. I don't care about all of this stuff because guess what you're going to get? You're going to get fumbles. You're going to get the quarterback trying to get rid of it quicker. We never make them adjust anything because we were hesitant and confused.
That's correct, and that's the problem with this run to the ball defense playing an option team. It's okay if you can run the ball if you know where the ball is, but if you don't know where the ball is, everybody runs to the wrong spot. It makes up a lot of gaps, and that's the lack of discipline I'm talking about.
Let the three guys who have those three guys take care of their responsibility. Let the other 8 swarm. What happened what happened was the guy who had the dive guy began to guess whether that dive guy had it or the quarterback had it, and he would be caught in the middle.
That's right.
That's what happened in that game over and over and over.
That's exactly the lack of discipline over and over, and a failure to correct it, and a failure to adjust to it.
Yep.
That's on the coaching.
Well, and the question is, he's saying that he adjusted. Maybe he told him to do what I said. I don't know. But I didn't see whatever adjustments he said didn't manifest on the field. We'll be back on the field. Did not show up on the field. We'll be back on the other side. Go check out Dixie Battery Supply, man. Dixie Battery Supply. We need a little bit of their juice this Saturday. We need them to power up this Alabama defense. In the meantime, let them power up your next vehicle or your device. You don't never have to feel powerless again like the Alabama defense did Saturday. Dixie Battery Supply, they will take care of you. They also have the reconditioned batteries starting at $39.99 with tax with an exchange. DixieBatterySupply.com.
Go inside the Alabama Crimson Tide with the Gary Harris Show.
Hey, everybody, it's Gary Harris. Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. Boy, it is going to be wild again. Bama fans are still in shock following the Tide's stunning loss at Vanderbilt. We're trying to move ahead to South Carolina, but it's been difficult. Drudy Armand, the Rocket Man, will join us to talk some ball. Also, Kayla Anderson with the Tennessee Titans Report. Your phone calls and more. That's Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. on the Gary Harris Show.
Catch the Gary Harris Show Monday through Friday, 9 to 11 a.m. on Tide 100.9 and Tide100.9.com.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. When you go looking for trouble, you'll find it. And we found some on University, northbound at 2059 at Cottondale. This has got traffic just a little on the slower side. Otherwise, you are pretty good to go on McFarland on the eastbound lanes just before you hit Lurleen Wallace. Now, that's a little slow on the horizon. That's right around Hospital Drive. But once you get past that, you're all good to go. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, Tammy Thomas.
This report is sponsored by the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation.
It's the year-end clearance sale at Townsend Nissan going on now. You can save thousands. See BJ or Kylan today at Townsend Nissan, your savings place.
The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more about research, education, and support at Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org.
Town Square Media Tuscaloosa delivers results for businesses across West Alabama, reaching consumers listening to our 8 local radio brands and reading our online content. We provide custom marketing solutions.
My name is Randall Ford, and I've been using Town Square Media for almost 25 years. What I like about Town Square is that it covers more than its customer service area. I actually reach more clients than they tell me that I can reach. I also like the fact that they've got website building and they've also got internet services and they've got the Tuscaloosa thread. When my reps come see me and ask me how my ads are doing, if they're not doing well, we'll switch the times of day, we'll switch the stations. If I'm not successful, they're not successful. So they're invested in my success.
Let us help you grow your business. Click on TuscaloosaThread.com or Town Square Media Tuscaloosa radio websites. Fill out the Advertise Here form. Put the power of Town Square Media to work for your business.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. We'd like to thank the fine folks over at the pharmacy that brings us the Free For All Friday, the pharmacy at Midtown. Go check them out. It's pharmacy at midtown.com. And also Houston Hydro Steam. Houston Hydro Steam, they take care of all of your cleaning, carpet needs, upholstery needs, quality work you can stand on. You can visit them at HoustonHydroSteam.com. Let's go ahead and get to Pat. Pat, you got about a minute, man. We got to get you in and out. What you got for us?
And I don't want to talk about that game no more. I want to talk about the game this weekend. DC, do you think that we have to make a statement game? Ole Miss beat them 27-3 at a little over 3 scores. Do we have to do that? I know we have to win, but winning with style is, I hate that word, but I think that's what was going to have to happen.
Well, I think every game from here forward is going to be like that, Pat. We're going to be judged on how we play. But I think for this team to really be a national championship quality team, we're going to have to see what kind of team we have. How are we going to respond to this loss is what's going to make the difference. Are we going to fold up, or are we going to be resilient, make some adjustments, and go out there and play our best? And I think if we do that latter part, then we're going to make a statement game against South Carolina if we come out and play the best we can. I think we have to do that in this day and time of getting in the playoffs with how many losses you have.
Yeah. All right. Well, I just leaving hurts my feelings.
Yeah.
Man,
all of us. Thanks, Pat. Pat said to lose it hurts his feelings.
No, I understand that, Martin. It hurts my feelings too. But I think sometimes we become we forget about history. This is not the first embarrassing loss that a coach at Alabama has ever had. Coach Davis, we always know he won't be the last. He had his, but Bear Bryant had his embarrassing losses. In 1975, when they opened up against Missouri, they were supposed to blow out Missouri. Missouri beat them 20-7. The only touchdown pass we had was a tip ball that should have went to somebody else.
Yeah.
And Richard Todd went out on the field that day and wore shoes he wanted to wear, not the shoes all the other team wore. And they said that Coach Bryant lost it. He was undisciplined. The team has gotten undisciplined because we did that, laid that egg that day. Well, he only went on to win 3 more national championships later in his life in the 70s. So the sky is not falling, folks. It happens all the time. Just know your Alabama history. Alabama fans are got such quick, short memories.
Yeah. Hey, and here's the other thing real quick. We got to get to, I think, a new caller, Q06. You're in on the Empowerment Strategy and Solutions Hotline. What's up, man?
Hey, first-time caller.
Yes, sir. Welcome.
Hey, Mark, Miss. Lord, I can't make this journey by myself. They can't do it. That's how I felt. That's all I kept walking around the house was singing, Lord. I just kept on saying it because they are out there playing as individuals, and they can't do it by themselves. Jump up there, slapping each other. Get back and make the next play. I'm old school football. You make a play, get back down, hunker in, and make the next play. All that taunting, all that jumping around, I don't care. Make a play, win the game. They can't make this journey by themselves. Thank you guys for allowing me to call. Hope to call again soon. But
Q06, we appreciate you being a first-time caller, man. Thanks. Appreciate you listening out there.
Hey.
Yeah, so DC, got some rapid fire for you. When at the end of the day, Bama lost. How does Bama bounce back Saturday against South Carolina?
Well, I think it's we got to bounce back by making adjustments and playing discipline. And I think if we do that, we'll win the game. We'll win it big. But this team has a chance. So, what kind of culture we have, and what kind of team we're going to have? Are we going to fold up and be divisive internally, like our 2007 team did after the Louisiana Monroe loss, or are we going to be like the team that we lost to Mississippi and then jailed and won the national championship? And this team has a chance to decide that. How they play Saturday will go a long way in telling them what's going to be for our future.
Agree with that. What are your thoughts about what happened with Malachi Moore on Saturday?
I think it was a lot of passionate play. He was frustrated, and he let his emotions get the best of him. Instead of playing with passion, he started playing with emotion. I think he was a key that I think part of that frustration was just what Martin has alluded to. He was the reason that we had a couple of them big plays. It was his play. He was as undisciplined in his play as he was in his emotions at the end. So I think that there has to be some internal discipline that's going on in order for him to do that. I think he's remorseful. I think all of his teammates saw that immediately in the locker room. You could see Deontay Lawson. He was so emotional after the game because of what had happened. You could tell that. So I think it's genuine, and I think they'll handle it internally like Coach Saban did many, many times. You forget how Coach Saban did his discipline, and he'll learn. He'll either learn from it or it'll break him. It'll either make him or break him. How he responds.
DC, what's your score for the game on Saturday?
I got Alabama winning big, 42-20. South Carolina scoring late. I think we play a good game and get back on the right winning track.
Hey,
let everybody know where they can find you.
All right. Tell them where they can find you real quick, DC.
DCCapstoneReport.com, DC Capstone Report Facebook page. Follow me on Twitter, DavidCott50. We're also on Spotify. Check us out on Lance's other side, ProTimeBama.com, FreelancePictures.com.
All right, that's DC. That's Xavier. I'm Martin Houston. That's Chase. This is Martin Houston Show powered by Box Eye Care. We thank all of our listeners, callers, viewers, chatters, and sponsors for being part of the program. Jason Rutledge asked a great question. What if teams figured out on third down? We'll make that part of our conversation on tomorrow. Don't forget, be thinking about your score prediction. And guess what our tiebreaker is this week? Time of possession. We're gonna see if we can get that right. Hey, remember this, trust in the Lord always. Lean not your own understanding. Always acknowledge him, and we will direct your paths. I appreciate you guys out there. The Tide's going to be okay. We just have to come up.
Roll Tide. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide, everybody. Appreciate you guys.
We gon' celebrate and have a good time.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.